Welcome back. A pioneering project at a St Helena Bay primary school in the Western Cape is set to make school feeding more impactful in communities. The project, which is being piloted by the Peninsula School Feeding Association and Oceana, aims to try and eliminate any stigma associated with accepting a school lunch. To expand more on this, we are now joined via Zoom by Zodwa Velleman from Oceana. Zodwa, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, and thank you for having us this morning.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now tell us more about this initiative.
So, Oceana is the proud makers of Lucky Star, as many know. So food security is something that is key to who we are as an organization. And we have worked with the Peninsula School Feeding Association for many, many years. And we have seen that over the years, more and more kids are no longer going in, to take their helping of a meal if they're part of a feeding scheme program.
Right.
And this troubled us. And we came together and we said, we can't carry on as we've always done. Get people, they cook, and kids come to eat. Those that come, if they don't, they don't. Because the reason why we've got this feeding schemes program, even supported by government, is that we actually want to do away with the concept of teaching children that are hungry, because we all know you can't teach a hungry child. So what we then did, we actually did a research that actually talked to this challenge. Why is it that children are no longer going to get the only meal sometimes that they would get a day that is actually provided to them by the various organizations, by Oceana, by government, by Peninsula Feeding Scheme Association? And what came out was actually that many of them are feeling stigmatized. Every time you go there, you are made to feel poor, less than, and half the time you do not have proper utensils, a plate where you can, get your helping for the day. You don't have a place where to sit. Some people actually go to the queue to get their helping on a plastic bag. Those are the very brave and desperate ones, as it appeared. So we thought that there has to be something we can do to turn around this challenge and bring back the dignity with which we want our children to be served their meal. And that was the background of this initiative.
And Zodwa, why do you think there's still so much stigma associated with accepting a school lunch?
I think it's actually more societal. If you look around and you can see everyone that are posting social media, those that are actually glorified are those that are wearing branded clothes, and everyone is coming across as they are not struggling, when in fact we know that poverty and hunger is still an issue in our country. The economy is hard already, as we know. Many people are not working. So as opposed to actually going to get your helping, people would actually rather stay away because you don't want to be associated with the poor. You don't want to be associated with those that don't have. And also, I think the meals that at times are being served to our children, how they are prepared, are they delicious? Are they attractive? Is it something that a child would want to eat, so that you also don't feel like I'm being served because I'm in this situation? The food is not attractive. Would you give it to your own child? So those are some of the things that came out from the research. And we actually thought that let's see what it is that we can do to actually, change or turn this tide around, because we do want our children to eat and be able to go to class, concentrate, and be able to actually succeed in their schooling journey.
And having said that, how are you able to ensure that the meals are as healthy and tasty as possible?
Okay, so that's a good question. Thanks for that. So what we have done is we have actually brought in one of our CSI partners, the Yes Hub. They've got a culinary school that we've worked with, and they've got a chef that we've brought on board to look at the menu for the HP Williams schools that we work with, working with PSFA, and we're trying to make sure that, the food that they get in the week is varied, is delicious, is nutritious. So we look at the menu. But secondly, we're looking at how do we train the parents of the same kids in the school, the volunteers, so that they're actually able to prepare these meals that we're saying they need to be attractive, they need to be balanced, they need to be nutritious. But what we've also done is we've seen that many schools, they don't have an area where they can prepare these meals. They would go into an available class, they would go into the field, they would go to the courts, and so on. So we've also donated a containerized kitchen, fully kitted with your pots and sink and and so on, that you will need to make sure that you are able to prepare these meals with a stove. And then what we've also created is an eating area, a dining area for the children, where they've got chairs, they've got tables. And as a company, we've also gone beyond to say, you need to be able to get your food in a plate. You know, you need a cup, you need utensils. So we've also been able to provide this to the children.
Right.
So those are some of the things that we are doing to make sure that indeed we try to do away with the stigma that has been associated or that continues to be associated with the feeding scheme programs.
No doubt your help is needed everywhere. So are you planning on branching out, or rather branching this program to the other parts of the province and possibly to the rest of the country?
Yes, so this was a pilot project that we've actually started,
Okay.
and they did scale it up because we want all the children. So because, I mean, we need to manage the resources. So what has happened in the past is you would be able to cater for those that are most in need. But the schools that we work with are already in dire need. And as I said, the economy is not helping. So we're trying to make sure that all the children of the school, all 502 of them, are able to actually get their breakfast and their lunch from the school. And this was our pilot project. And so far, it is actually going very, very well. We are looking at a second school already in the West Coast. And again, it's going to be our second pilot. We're looking to do 3 pilot projects, do a study to see whether it's as impactful as we think. Are we changing the mindset? Are we seeing more and more children being excited about the eating area, about having their utensils, and the volunteers that are cooking for the kids? You know, are they finding it impactful? Is it working? What do we need to do? What do we need to tweak? And then the idea is that we continue to roll it out. But food security is at the core of what we are doing, and making sure that, you know, we turn the tide on the stigma that has been associated now with the feeding scheme programs that we are trying to deal with.
Also looking to, solicit assistance from the corporate sector, because this is a huge project. And as you mentioned that you're going to be, helping another school, and helping as many schools as possible really does take a great deal of resources. And I suppose that you might even need the corporate sector to come on board.
Oh, absolutely. You know, our CEO, Neville Brink, always says that, in area of CSI, there is no competition.
Right.
And it can't be, because we are actually trying to change lives. We are changing our future, because these are our future leaders. So it's us in for now, because it has been a pilot. We've worked with PSFA, we've brought in Yes Hub, and indeed other companies in the West Coast that are also interested, or even in the country, that are involved in food security. Absolutely, we are creating a movement here. And all of us, I'm sure at some stage or the other, we are seeing that the stigmatization is an issue. So let's hold hands and see what it is that we can do to make sure that countrywide, there's no child that goes hungry, particularly when they can be part of a feeding scheme program that is available in their schools.
And what's the thought process in terms of selecting which child benefits from this feeding scheme?
You know, we just always work in absolutely poverty-stricken areas.
Okay.
So in the past, yes, you'd actually be graded in terms of how much your parents earn and whether you're qualified to be in a feeding scheme. But that has actually been one of the reasons that the stigmatization has actually become so vile, particularly in some of the areas that we have actually done this research. So, like we said, at HP Williams, we're saying all kids should be able to go and get their helping of meal. We want to make it, attractive, delicious, that every child must go to their mother and say, actually, I'm okay, I should be able to eat at school. And this is to make sure that we deal with the stigma, but we also know that most of those children are already stretched and in dire need. So it's not about now putting those that are able into a program that should be actually, being stretched to other kids. It's just that everyone that is in these schools that we work with, they are semi-rural, and some of them absolutely, the parents are not working. So we do our studies, and we want to make sure that we go where there's greatest of need. And sometimes it's not the sexy areas in your urban areas, it's easy access. These areas are far, they are remote, but that is where the need is most needed. So that's what we do.
Okay, Zodwa, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us this morning. And have a wonderful day, Fed.
You too, thank you. And that's such a brilliant initiative. Keep on keeping on. That was Zodwa Velleman from Oceana, and we've been speaking to her about their recent pioneering project to make school feeding programs even more impactful.